Hello, everyone. Welcome to C-Suite Talks. We speak with industry leaders, introducing you to some of the most interesting people and businesses today. We're focused on women, money, and power, as well as diversity in all areas. Welcome to C-Suite Talks. I'm Beth Hilbing, co-CEO of C-Suite with
Diane Gubin. I'm co-CEO along with Beth. And today we are so happy to have as our guest Lilach Bullock. She is a digital marketing specialist based out of Tel Aviv area. And Lilach has 18 plus years of experience as a social media influencer in digital marketing and in the B2B world. She provides B2B marketers with consulting, influencer marketing services, SEO, and done-for-you content services. So welcome today. Lilach, we're happy to have you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you.
And we're so happy to have you. And as you know, with C-Suite, and we use digital marketing like crazy and with social media, and it's just a must-do today for every business to survive. And
so we want your tips.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the misconceptions about digital marketing, and how do you address them to make your clients successful? Because I think everybody would be interested in knowing that.
Okay, so that's a great question to kick off, isn't it? I think for me, the biggest one is the whole vanity metrics. Everyone's obsessed with number of followers and likes and comments. And I think we've lost sight on the metrics that really, really matter. So I think the biggest thing is to focus on results rather than engagement, because engagement doesn't equal ROI. So I think that's one thing really,
it doesn't?
really important. It really doesn't. I wish it totally doesn't. If anything, I always say it's your lurkers that are your buyers. It's not the people who are like.
Right. Because we put a lot out into the world and we're looking for members and sponsors. Right. So you're right. There's a lot of engagement, but that doesn't necessarily return.
Yeah, totally. And I think another one is measuring, being able to measure. How can you measure? What should you be measuring? And there's obviously the obvious things, which is, being consistent and writing for your audience and giving value and things like that. But I think today, I've been in business nearly 19 years, and I have never, ever seen social media so noisy, so saturated, so competitive. Everyone's saying the same thing. So I think today, now more than ever, you have to be prepared to be different, to be unique, to really put yourself out there, to be much more vulnerable, and to provide huge, huge value so that you can stand out and be heard above the noise.
What do you think, as you look at all the platforms, do you tailor to a platform to your audience, or are there some platforms that just naturally you should always be looking at, like your Twitters, your LinkedIn, your YouTubes, there's so many different avenues. And I think everybody tries to hit them all thinking that they need to be there just in case they get a sale or a subscription or something.
Right. We love LinkedIn personally, because that seems where our place. Yeah.
Now, I am a fan of LinkedIn as well. I love LinkedIn too. Look, I think ultimately, if you want people to hear you and you want the right people to hear you, as in your target audience, you have to be where your target audience is. If your target audience isn't on Facebook, then why are you spending time there? And I think, look, in an ideal world, everyone would have an omni-channel approach whereby they're visible in all the different platforms. And I typically post the same things in different platforms, so it makes it much easier for me to manage. But I think ultimately you have to invest the time and resources where your target audience are and where they're active and engaging.
Right. So that was tip number 1, post the same material across platforms, right?
Well, and where your audience is, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah.
So you're not wasting your time and your money.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Yeah. So Lilach, how did you get started in digital media? Did you grow up and say I want to be a digital media expert? Like, how do you become one?
Oh my goodness. So I actually started out as a virtual PA. My daughter, I just had my daughter, she's 18 and a half. No, she's 8. Yeah, she's, oh my God. Yeah. Started in the army a couple of weeks, which is very scary. And I started, just because my company wouldn't let me. I was a training manager before. My company wouldn't let me go back part-time. So I decided to work for myself, and I was gradually getting into social media before it, when it first launched. So I saw the power. I was in the UK, and I realized very quickly that I could reach the rest of the world. I was very ambitious back then, and very driven, and it was so much quieter. So it was so much easier. So I can remember years ago. Do you remember with Facebook, you could message everyone who liked your page? You could
Right.
literally the social media. You could post links, and and there was no playing the algorithms. It was very, very different, and I latched onto it, and it just catapulted me into the space. I actually tried to launch a social media tool. I don't know if you're familiar with Hootsuite, but I came up with a spec before they did. That's another
Is
story.
Hootsuite still out there? I don't remember.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean they did monopolize the space, but new
Yeah.
tools have come on since,
Ah,
Okay.
and they know they have that luxury. Um, but I just fell in love with. I always loved networking, and I wanted to reach the rest of the world, and saw huge potential with social media. I was also I started blogging back in 2006 as well, and I was obsessed with driving traffic. I don't know. I just saw a gap that other people, particularly in the UK, weren't leveraging, and just went for it and embraced it.
That's great. So, what do you advise new businesses to do? Like, if there's a new business coming on and they want to, and they're subscription based, let's put it that way, and they're online, how do you advise them to get started? Who should they start with first to really get their presence out there?
right, right. And that
So
subscription model too. Ooh, that's popular space now.
yeah, it's very popular. And I think it really depends what type of audience. So if it's consumer or B2B, the two are very, very different. I also think it depends if you want to spend money on ads or do things organically. My recommendation is to always test and prove that it works organically before you spend money on ads. And I think it's really about testing to see what your audience loves, what turns them on, what turns them off, making sure you follow the 80-20 rule, 80% value, 20% selling promotion. I think also because, so given the current climate, I would think about incentives that you can grow the subscription. So rather than having to constantly get new people, see if you can get people to invite others and
Mm.
create incentives and offers and programs to do that, so that you're kind of building an army of people who are going to promote yourself.
Ooh.
Um, and I think also something that's very important with subscription model, because I think the model is fantastic, but it can also be a very hard model to succeed in, because you have to know your churn rate. At what point do people stop becoming a subscriber? Um, so that so that you don't run out. And also, how can you keep subscribers active or doing whatever it is they're supposed to be doing? Because I think that is really, really important, and that helps it grow organically as well.
Yeah, no, that's
Wow.
really good advice.
That
Yeah.
is terrific. So thank you for that. So being a woman in the digital marketing industry, let's talk about you and some of the key lessons you've learned as you've looked across the landscape and seen women going into this industry. So what are some of the lessons you've learned that have contributed to your success? I heard you with the A/B testing, um, knowing your audience. What else?
I think I think the beauty of women is that they're much more supportive, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been at different stages in my life as a woman, from being a young mother to now entering menopause. So I've literally been around and seen the two differences, and they, all the stages have different challenges, and I think as women we have it a lot harder. And I know you can't, I know you're not supposed to say that, but that's the truth. I think we have to look after the kids and do all the juggling, and then we have all the brain fog, all the hot coffees which are coming in, and it's like one finishes and then another door opens. It's like, oh,
It's like it's volume.
I
It's
find,
volume. It's just volume as we get older. It's
I
just we've
know.
well,
put so much into our lives, and now we've got to maintain it.
yeah, or after a couple of glasses of rosé, maybe a little brain
Yeah,
fog. But
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
just
yeah. But I think, if I've learned anything in digital marketing, it's that it's so important, particularly as a woman, to have a really good support network where people lift you up. And I think as a woman, it can be very easy to compare yourself to others as well in the
Yeah,
space.
especially in the digital marketing space where everybody's got the what do you call it when they make women look more curvy than they are, right? All that editing. So you've got this
I thought they made them look thinner than they
aspirational,
are.
right, right,
More
right,
Right.
right, where it's this aspirational that
curvy.
nobody can match.
Well, although in France they're
Yeah.
going to start making them show their real selves, which will be
Yeah, I hope
interesting
so.
in and of
I hope
Oh
itself.
so.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I hope
yeah. So
so.
I think it's also about, I mean, we've seen so many changes in digital. I mean, in LinkedIn, it's only in the last sort of 12 months that people have been posting selfies. That was very Facebook centric.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that approach on LinkedIn. I find it very clickbaity, but it is effective and it plays to the algorithms. So that's
I
a
never
little bit
thought about
about it.
posting a selfie on LinkedIn. Like, hi, I'm at an
Oh,
event
well,
kind of thing, right? Is that it?
Oh yeah, no, you do that. Yeah, we do it
Yeah.
for C-suite.
Do we? Yeah. Well, we do
Yes,
like,
we do.
hi, here we're in a group and we won an
well,
award, right?
Yeah. No, no, we do it at
no,
when we go to events and stuff. I
Yeah.
do for
Okay.
us. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you, Beth.
yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
Whatever Beth posts, I just repost. Because Lilach, it just takes so much time to do this too. Like not everybody's got the time to like sit there and do all this social
right.
media. It just seems like a big time suck, right?
Mhm.
Right.
It
You're like,
is,
yeah, it
and
is.
it is, and it can be overwhelming and frustrating,
Right.
particularly right now, because as I said earlier, I've never seen it so tough online, and I don't think anybody is immune. Like even people myself who have large followers and and reasonably known in the space, I think everybody is struggling, and nobody is being honest enough, I don't believe. Behind the scenes, I talk with people and everyone's saying how, you can get 1,000 likes. It means nothing today. It's not
Hmm.
like what it was years ago. So I think it is very time consuming. And I also think, don't do it just because everybody is there, and don't be obsessed with the numbers. I think put yourself out there. But I think where to get the results from now is actually being proactive and doing the outreach rather than just posting on social media. I think you have to do a lot more
Like
behind the
the one
scenes,
by ones.
the one by ones. And also, I think a lot of, as I said, I've been around nearly 19 years, and I'm seeing already things coming back. The face-to-face networking now, people have missed it and are overwhelmed with the networking because it's just
Yes.
so much work, very time sensitive. And you've got a choice. You can either spend money on ads, you can either pay someone to do it for you, or you do it yourself. And even though there's tools which can help, and particularly with AI and stuff, it's still a lot of work if you want to do the actual outreach. So I think be mindful, be very, very strategic, and think, well, what's this going to achieve? And I think if you do it properly. Don't just do post today one time, a different hour. Be really strategic, be very consistent, have cluster approaches, so know what your target audience wants, write for them, write their language, make it so they can easily understand. And don't be afraid to test things up. And if it's not working, if you're not getting results, try something else, or even
Hmm.
consider taking a break. Sometimes we need to detox from social media as well.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
agree
I
with that
love that.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I
can I ask you a
agree.
question? So, what do you think about blogging and Slack and all of that? Because again, that's very time consuming too. And we hear it a lot, like because we interact,
Yeah.
we have over 10,000 in our database that we from
Growing.
our
I mean, it's
C-suite
growing
world and
exponentially.
growing like
Yeah.
crazy. And some of the women are like, "Oh, you need to get on Slack and you need to do this and you need to do that." But it's to me
It's
another
another
yet again
place.
another
Another
avenue. So
right.
I just wondered what
Right.
your
So,
thoughts around
I,
art.
so when it comes to blogging, I'm a huge fan of blogging. I've been blogging since 2004, and I mean, during COVID, it saved me my website, my blog. It makes a passive income because people advertise on it. So I'm a
Ooh,
massive
ooh.
fan of.
Wait. Beth, ears up. Did you hear that? People advertise
Oh,
on Lilach's blog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Something to think
I'll
about
talk
there.
about that. Yeah. We can definitely discuss that. And I think also what we're seeing with social media, because it's so noisy, and because also there's so many rules, what you can do, what you can't do. And I know so many people who've had their accounts suspended or even removed on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Facebook, etc., that you don't own it. Whereas your blog is your own asset.
Right.
You can control it, you can grow it, you can monetize it. So I'm a huge fan of blogging, and I'm obsessed with SEO and driving traffic and growing my domain authority and things like that, and growing a passive income from it. So I think everyone should be blogging. I
All
think
right.
it's one of the, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to switch
love it.
subjects on you away
Yeah,
from
yeah,
all
yeah.
this great transactional thing. So, how have you leveraged your experience to empower and support other women in digital marketing? And what do you do to do that in your
Right. Or
blogging
is
or
it a
in other
very
things?
solo thing and women don't support each other? Everybody's just kind of doing their own little silo. What happens?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have so many free resources on my website. I have free trainings on everything from LinkedIn marketing to how to get bums on, your webinar, and all sorts of trainings, from videos to swipe files, workbooks, and all of that. Um, and I've spoken at many events over the years. I've been part of different network groups. I'm always, happy to help people as much as I can. I love working with women. It's very nurturing, and there's obviously the connection that us women have, because we can talk about the different challenges that we face at particular moments. So yeah, no, I think it's great, and I really would recommend that people lift each other up rather than put down, and to stay away from anyone who is negative, who is
Yes.
jealous and competitive. And I have to tell you, I've also had women do that to me over the years, who, couldn't cope with. I had a lot of success a few years ago, and a lot of people couldn't cope with that, particularly women, because they're very emotional. Um, that sounds horrible, but I think women can be quite
I,
emotional.
I think this is a
In
glass of wine.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's one of. But yeah, no, look, I
Yeah.
think everybody should lift each other up and be
Yeah.
kinder to one another, particularly online, because words can get misconstrued, and I think we have to be careful with what we say, and
Yes, and
just think,
cyberbullying and
and
all that for sure.
oh, it's horrible. And that's the real ugly side of social media, and it's really sad to see.
Yes.
Are there a
Yes, we had a
lot
lot of
of
issues with that at one point. Yeah.
yeah, are
Mm.
there a lot of young emerging leaders getting into digital marketing? Do you see it as a growing field?
Or are the kids just going, well, you know what? I have three of them. So I don't know how much they're on social media anymore. They don't do Facebook, right? But they do
Not so much.
Hinge. They do all the dating apps.
I think there's a lot of younger people who see the influencer lifestyle and think, oh, I want to be an influencer. And they don't realize that it's a lot more than having a certain amount of followers. Like, at the end of the day, you can buy anything online. You can buy likes, you can buy followers, you can buy anything and everything. So you have to be careful what you suggest as an influencer as well. So I think we have to be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. So going back to the business, what are some of the trends that businesses should be focused on to stay ahead of their competition today?
So I think obviously AI is a huge one right now. And I know a lot of people are, including myself, I fluctuate from being excited and, oh my God, to terrified, with what the potential it can do. And I think that a lot of professions, particularly writers and even marketers like myself, need to get their head out of the sand, and really master it, because it is going to change things, and it's only a matter of time. And I think it's going to happen way quicker than everybody thinks. So I would say leverage it, embrace it, maximize it to help you as much as possible. I also think we're going to see a lot more video. I think with content and AI, it's so easy now to regurgitate content, and it's just getting lost. So I think videos are going to become even more popular,
Mm.
um, and are going to be used a lot more as well.
Ooh, get those dogs out, right? The dog and cat videos, right? Right, right.
If you
So to
have, oh, I was just going to
yeah,
say, for those
go on.
I like this question. For those who are skeptical about, the impact of digital marketing, what do you say to them? How do you convince them to come on board if you have new clients or potential clients who say, "What are you going to do
Anyone
for
who
me? What's digital marketing going to do for me?"
I think
Yeah.
anybody who's skeptical hasn't used it correctly. That's the reality. Because
Ooh.
you can only be skeptical of something if you've not leveraged it right. But I believe in marketing, everything works if you do it the right way and do it enough and are consistent. The reason why most people are skeptical is because they may have posted once a week or a couple of times a week for a month and nothing's happening. Well, no. I mean, you have to spend, it's a lot of work. And I think people are lazy. People want fast, quick results. And the reality is that's not the case today. It used to be, it used to be very easy. I could post something, I could blog a 500-word blog and I'd get thousands, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of thousands of views on it.
Wow.
I can't duplicate that today. I just can't. And it's the same with, on Facebook and Twitter. I just can't get the results that I got from doing hardly anything. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
And I spend more time, I work harder on social media today than I did 10 years ago, a year
Wow.
ago, 3 years.
Wow.
And I think that's why people are skeptical, because there's so much more work and effort involved
And a lot of
now.
noise. Yep.
People, yeah, and it's hard. And I think if you're new, you really need to consider, do you go down the ad route? Because you're just playing catch up the whole time. It's exhausting.
Ooh,
Well, what
that's
do
a
you
good way to put
love
it.
most about your job? So we'll end there.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
love
a, yeah,
most
that's a
about your
good
job?
question.
Yeah.
Oh, what do I love? Oh my goodness. I love meeting people. I love learning about people's businesses and helping them. I really love helping people grow and scale their business and create the dreams that they never thought was possible. I love helping people get out of their comfort zone. Um, and just, I like the diversity. It's like I can work from anywhere in the world. It's really funny when COVID happened, everyone's like obsessed with working from home. I've been doing this nearly 19 years. So I love being at home and just chatting. Like, we're chatting here. I mean, how amazing is this?
Yes.
From
Yes.
from Tel Aviv, right? You're in Tel
Right.
Aviv.
And we're in
Yeah,
Los
And
Angeles.
we're in
Yes.
California. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's amazing. And I love all the different tools and the tech. I just like being creative and working when I want and having the freedom and the flexibility. Like just before our call, I was, in the spa and just to have that luxury, I love it. And I feel very blessed. And yeah, I'm being really honest.
Yeah. And I was walking my
Um,
dogs. Yeah.
and I think, it's nice to be able to give back and it's nice
Yeah.
to um, share my voice. And I've had to grow a thick skin over the years. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. And, I've learned that nothing lasts forever. The good, the bad, the indifferent. And I think you have to love the journey and the process and the roller coaster ride of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. No,
We
that
love it.
sounds exactly
We
right
love
on.
it.
So
Yeah. So
how
how
can
can,
our listeners
yeah.
find you?
Okay, so my website's lilachbullock.com. I also have a podcast aptly named The Lilach Bullock Show.
Do you
I'm
want
on
to spell that?
LinkedIn.
That's spell it for anybody who's listening.
Okay, so it's Lilach. It's like lilac with a H. Bullock, BULLOCK.com. And all my social media handles are Lilach Bullock. In fact, you can Google, there's only one Lilach Bullock in the world, which is me.
Yay.
So I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I'm everywhere.
Terrific.
Come and
Terrific. Well,
connect.
thank you to our listeners. Thank you, Lilach Bullock, for being a guest with us today on C-Suite Talks. We've really enjoyed getting to know you. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Google, the law firm of Manette, City National Bank, IPG, which is advertising, media, and PR companies, and my firm, Amplify Professional Services, which is executive search and IT consulting. So thank you to our listeners. Beth, do you want to wrap us up with the subscribes?
Sure. Hit the subscribe button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast today. Leave us a review. Follow us on all the social media channels, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. And we love hearing from you. So please go out to our website, www.csweet.org, and just get active and join the community and be participant in life. So thank you for listening today. And thank you, Leah.